So the next strategy we're going to have a look at is the strategy that's known as making more frequent repayments, which what you're trying to do with this particular strategy is you're trying to look at your minimum monthly repayment, and you're either trying to halve that minimum monthly repayment and pay it each fortnight, or you're trying to quarter that minimum monthly repayment and pay it each week. Now, there's something that's pretty unique that actually occurs when you're looking at this one. So I might just quickly jump to this page for a second and follow along with me. The reason why this one actually works, and it's pretty neat on this, is if you think about a minimum monthly repayment, let's just say that your minimum monthly repayment was $100, all right? And you are going to halve that $100 and pay it fortnightly instead. Well, your fortnightly repayment, I should have probably put monthly up there, but fortnightly would be $50. Now, let's think about the comparison of these two. How many fortnights are there in a year? Well, there's 26 fortnights versus 12 months in a year. So there's only the 12 months, 26 fortnights. So let's think about how much are we actually paying off every single year? Well, for the months, it's pretty easy. You just go 12 months, $100 per month. Well, you're making a total payment of $1,200. With the fortnights, however, you're going to be doing 26 payments every single year at $50 per payment. And what that actually works out to is $1,300, or an extra $100 payment per month, which is what our minimum monthly payment was. And that's what effectively actually occurs here. When you actually halve it and pay it fortnightly, you end up paying an extra month's worth of payments through those 26 payments. So it's sort of like, you know, the extra $100 was repaid in those small chunks over 26 fortnights. The reason why this obviously occurs is there isn't exactly 2 fortnights in each month of the year. There's a little bit more. So if you're halving your full month's repayment and paying it each fortnight, you end up paying more over the course of the year. And obviously that will add up over the course of, you know, the term of the entirety of the loan. And that in essence is how this strategy actually maximizes how much interest that you end up saving. And it's pretty phenomenal when you start calculating how much you can actually save using a strategy such as this. Oops. Let me just put that back to full screen. So let's have a look at the question we've got in front of us. So we've got our $415,000 loan again. That's taken out over 25 years at 6.39% per annum with the interest compounded monthly. Now, obviously, the first thing that we're going to need to be able to do here is calculate the minimum monthly repayment for this loan. So that way later on we can calculate how much we're going to save. So we're doing 25 years, compounding monthly. The interest rate is 6.39%. The present value is our $415,000 loan. Our PMT is what we're after. Our future value is what we're paying it. Our PY and CY at the moment are both 12. So we're making 12 payments per year if we're doing monthly repayments, and the compounding periods is 12. So our PMT, when we calculate this, I'm assuming we'll be approximating here, will be approximately $2,773.66. So now we've got that. What we're going to have a look at is what would happen if we were to halve this PMT and pay it fortnightly in terms of the total interest of the loan. Now, essentially because we're actually paying more off per year, what in essence is actually going to happen is we're going to pay off the loan quicker. So the first thing we actually need to calculate is, well, how long is it going to take to calculate to pay off the loan, which is our N. Now, our interest rate is going to stay the same here, so it's going to be 6.39%. Our present value, well, that's our loan amount, so that hasn't changed. That's $415,000. What has changed here is our PMT value, which is going to be, we're going to make sure it's negative because we're paying it off, but 2,773, it's approximately this value, and 66 cents divided by 2. The future value, I will actually need to work out what that actually is in a sec. the PMT, is 0. Now, this is where something a little bit different is. Our PY and CY are no longer going to be the same. And this is because our compounding periods are still, it's compounding once per month, but our payment periods is 26 payments per year. So this PY needs to become 26. And that's really important because when we calculate our N, let me just start putting these values into my calculator. When we calculate N, it's very important that we interpret that this is no longer, oops, not divided by 26, that would get me a very wrong answer. The PY is 26. But when we go to calculate N, which here I'm calculating that N is approximately 541.72. Probably could have just rounded that to 542. But when we calculate this N, it's no longer in months. So up here in part A, we're dealing with months because our payments per month and our compounding periods were 12. Our N tends to go, how many payments are we going to make over the period of time? So this is now in fortnights. So don't forget that little, that little extra there. So now we've got how long it's going to pay off. What we now need to do is a comparison of what interest we would have paid versus how much we, have essentially paid now and compare the two. So we'll call this old interest. And to calculate that, that's going to be equal to how much our loan was. We'll subtract our loan at the end. How much we were paying back each time. So this was $2,773.66 multiplied by how many payments we made over the term of the loan, which was 25 by 12. And then we've obviously got to subtract our original loan. So the old interest here is going to be by 25 by 12. Oops. Is going to be, by the looks of it, an approximation. In fact, it was all approximated anyway. 417.98. Then we've got to look at, well, how much interest would we pay if we were to do the same parameters but halve the PMT and pay it monthly. Now, for the sake of this, I am just going to quickly halve that PMT for us. So 2773.66 divided by 2. That's going to be 1,386.83. We're repaying that a total of 541.72 times approximately. And then obviously our loan amount was 415,000. So our new interest that we would pay by 541.72 minus our 415 is going to be approximately 336,273.55. Now, of course, we need to know how much interest we've saved using this strategy, so we've just got to compare these two. So interest saved is going to be the difference, which is this 417,098. Subtracts the 336,273.55. It's all approximate, obviously. So therefore, our interest saved is, let's make sure I get it right. So approximately $80,824.45, or 46 roughly, but we'll go with 45 for the moment. I was using exact figures in my calculator rather than the rounded figures which I wrote down, so that's the reason why I decided to keep it to 45. So you can see here in this strategy though that by paying halving and paying it fortnightly, just how much savings that you can potentially get over the period of the loan. It's quite dramatic, but you do have to realize that you are making, in essence, an extra month's worth of repayments every single year. So you obviously have to have the income to be able to do that. So in this case, we're essentially making an extra $2,773.66 worth of repayments over the year. However, we're dividing that across all 26 repayments that we make. So hopefully it doesn't feel like as much of an impact when you do that. So that is making more frequent repayments. It obviously can also be done weekly. The same sort of little trick happens, except when you're doing it weekly, we would divide by 4. So that way we're maximizing the savings that we get.